What single line in the new empire hinted at the greatest threat in the Monsterverse? Throughout the years, the challengers to face Godzilla and Kong in their respective kingdoms have steadily escalated, forcing them to grow more and more powerful as more competition arises. Godzilla himself has been through several forms, each of which escalates in power to a new level of strength, and Kong has been augmented not just in terms of his size, but his tool set as well. In the new empire, the two faced off against the Scar King and Shimo, the two strongest titans that either have faced to date according to the director, but this leaves us to wonder exactly who is next. And today, Heralds of the Titans, let's discuss what was laid in the new empire. This video will in part be an update of an earlier project, but we've revised it with new evidence that has come to light thanks to the film. Specifically, we are going to be talking about Dr. Andrew's line, one that refers to the practice of eating a star, and how this might actually signal the arrival of an ancient, nigh unkillable Gojira. The phase to eat a star has a fascinating origin embedded deep within Iwi history, and because of the expression to eat a star is first seen in the Skull Island novelization, it is explained that the Iwi had run-ins with several titans throughout their history, and on several occasions they refer to bad lizards or wicked lizards, which are a reference to the various Gojira that once roamed the earth. The use of the phrase eating a star was eventually used to describe when a Gojira absorbs a considerable amount of energy. The full phrase, eating a star and spitting its rays, is used to refer specifically to the atomic breath ability, but one particular story told of a Gojira driven wicked by eating a star is prevalent. What's interesting about these references is that only one wicked lizard is mentioned, and this particular story gives way to the legend of the Zozo-Lawa, the ancient Gojira who once roamed the hollow earth much the same way that Godzilla would patrol the surface. Once upon a time, the Gojira was friendly and relatively docile towards the Iwi tribe, and this was until the fateful day when this ancient Gojira ate a star. This caused him to lose mental control over his sense of reason, and it made him aggressive and hostile. He began to fight with anything he interacted with, as if he had been driven mad by absorbing the wrong kind of energy. Unfortunately, we only have one look at this beast, and that is through an ancient Iwi cave painting. What's important to note about this particular depiction, though, is the reference of wings that appears with the atomic breath. In the new empire, we get a much deeper look at the Iwi mythology, and particularly their ancient history, which should shed some light on what we believe to be this depiction of Space Godzilla. In the film, we are introduced to the crystalline pyramids carved by the Iwi, and each of these pyramids have mystic qualities to them. Alongside gravity manipulation, we learn that these crystals are capable of channeling the power of the hollow earth. And the most prominent example of this is when the Scar King reveals how he has been holding Shimo under his control with pain. He used a shard from one of the Iwi crystals in order to cause Shimo immense excruciating pain, and the implication is that these crystals can manipulate the hollow earth radiation coursing through Shimo's system, and the Scar King is able to weaponize this in order to keep her at bay. If these crystals are a byproduct of the hollow earth radiation, then the particular design may be setting up some of the most iconic features found in one of Godzilla's older foes. We are talking, of course, about Space Godzilla, which seems to have a striking similar design as well as aesthetic to the crystalline temples of the hollow earth. His presence is being foreshadowed. We propose that Space Godzilla may be introduced via the Zozo-Lawa. In the original iteration, Space Godzilla's origins can be traced back to Godzilla's cells being sent into space and drifting into a black hole. Since the cells were drawn from Godzilla, however, they were incredibly sensitive to different forms of radiation, and were still able to absorb different types of energy if they were ever exposed to it. By venturing through space, Godzilla's cells were exposed to a variety of different energy signatures, and by siphoning the radiation of the latent universe and the power of the black hole, these cells mutated into a monstrous clone of the original Godzilla. Not only does Space Godzilla demonstrate psychic abilities like the Iwi, but a very similar crystalline structure to that which we see in the new empire. The theory of his introduction goes as follows. The Zozo-Lawa was in fact a Gojira who was driven mad by spending too much time in the hollow earth, absorbing too much of this particular kind of radiation. This is why Godzilla doesn't like venturing down into the hollow earth, and only does so when absolutely necessary, because if he understands the dangers of his own mental well-being, being, then he may be avoiding this particular type of energy like a drug. It could make him immensely powerful, of course, but at the cost of either getting him addicted or degrading his sense of reason and clarity, going into madness. In the original Iwi legend, the Zozo-Lawa was imprisoned in the depths of the hollow earth, very similarly to how we saw the great apes were left in exile following the Scar King led an uprising against Godzilla and were defeated. If the Zozo-Lawa is still out there though, as in the legend he is not killed, then it is possible that he is due for a resurgence, and he could be much more powerful than anything Godzilla has ever faced. More powerful perhaps than this new form. Godzilla relegates himself to the surface and only feeds upon sources of radiation that are either provided by humans or other titans such as Tiamat. In the film, he kills Tiamat in order to power himself against Shimo, but the Zozo-Lawa would have spent eons in the deepest depths of the hollow earth imprisoned, absorbing much more radiation than even the current form of Godzilla. It's interesting to note that SPACEGODZILLA has demonstrated psychic abilities in the past, and telepathic powers are now canon to the Monsterverse. When the human characters arrive in the hollow earth, they are met by survivors of the Iwi tribe, which was once believed to have gone extinct after being wiped out on Skull Island. When they found the Iwi to be alive though, it is revealed that they can communicate telepathically with one another, setting the stage for more mental powers to take shape in the coming years. And we believe that SPACEGODZILLA will also have these telepathic and psionic powers. This would give him an ability that is incredibly difficult to counteract and nearly impossible to beat with brute strength. Godzilla and Kong are formidable physical combatants that almost no Titan can stand toe-to-toe with, but they don't have very many defensive capabilities when it comes to being mind-controlled or telepathically attacked, something that is popular in Godzilla lore. Now, not only would the Zozo-Lawa be physically superior to Godzilla in every way potentially, but also mentally superior to either him and Kong. The best defense against telepathic abilities may actually be the Iwi themselves, who could stand a chance at counteracting these psionic powers. The remainder of this is strictly speculative though, but it could be fascinating to see Gia learn how to telepathically communicate with the Titans, potentially stopping SPACEGODZILLA from subjugating them. We saw as much with Shimo, who was firmly under the Scar King's grasp, though she wasn't directly mind-controlled so much as she was shocked with intense bursts of pain, whatever the cause may be. The stage seems like it's being set for the arrival of SPACEGODZILLA. The crystals are more and more prominent in the Monsterverse. We've been introduced to forms of energy in the hollow earth that Godzilla did not in fact absorb. The canon term to eat a star has now been introduced on film. We have drawings of a flying Gojira who is said to have been turned wicked and caused the great apes and the Gojira to unite to banish and defeat him. It is clear that the legend of the Zozo-Lawa is on the horizon. Psychic powers now being introduced on top of it all. Everything has been primed for SPACEGODZILLA. And we firmly believe that SPACEGODZILLA and the Iwi legend of the Zozo-Lawa are the same. But what were your thoughts on the Zozo-Lawa references to eat a star and the energy in the hollow earth, my fellow heralds of the Titans? What did you think of Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire as a film? And are you excited to see where the future of the Monsterverse lie? As always, my friends, thank you so much for visiting the channel today. I hope you're having an amazing one, and I'll catch you in another Godzilla video.